Welcome to English Starline. Today, I'm going to share a story that could change the way you think, the way you act, and the way you learn English. This is not just a motivational story. This is a wake-up call, a reminder that even when life feels stuck, even when everything is against you, you still have the power to rise. My name is Diago. I'm from Brazil, and just a short time ago, I had nothing. No money, no job, no English, no hope. I was rejected, embarrassed, and completely lost. But I found a way to rebuild myself. Not with talent, not with luck, but with one simple thing: consistency. If you're learning English right now, if you've ever felt frustrated, tired, or like giving up, then this story is for you. I will take you through every step of my journey. From failure to confidence, from silence to fluency, from stuck to strong. This video is also perfect for English listening practice, English speaking, and building daily learning habits. So sit back, listen carefully, and let your journey begin. Because here at English Starline, you don't just learn English, you learn how to change your life. Let's get started. For many years, I kept telling myself the same excuse. I'm just waiting for the right time. I believed that one day I would wake up with strong motivation. I would feel ready to study, ready to change my life, ready to speak English. But that day never came. Instead, every day I found a new reason to delay. I told myself I was tired. I told myself the weather wasn't good. I said I was too busy, even when I wasn't. I said, maybe next week I'll be serious. But next week became next month, and next month became next year. My dreams were big, but my actions were small. I told everyone I wanted to speak fluent English. I told my friends I would apply for international jobs. I imagined myself traveling, working in a big company, meeting people from around the world. But in reality, I was stuck. I watched videos on YouTube, but I didn't practice. I bought a grammar book, but I didn't open it. I followed English teachers on Instagram, liked their posts, but never repeated the lessons. I said I wanted to learn, but I didn't do anything. And when I did try, I gave up quickly. One day I studied for an hour, then nothing for 2 weeks. I thought I was lazy. I started to feel bad about myself. I said things like, I'll never do it. I'm not disciplined. I'm not good at learning. I started to believe my own excuses. I felt like a person who couldn't finish anything. One day, I was sitting on my bed, scrolling on my phone. Another day wasted. Another promise broken. And suddenly, I asked myself, what if I never change? What will my life look like 1 year from now? And the answer was painful. Nothing would change. I would still be here, in this same room with the same empty notebook, the same regrets, the same silence. That scared me, but I still didn't take action. I thought, maybe something will inspire me. Maybe I'll hear a great speech or read a powerful quote. Then I'll feel ready. But nothing came. Until one small thing happened. My little cousin came to visit. He's 6 years old. He saw my English book on the shelf and asked, Diago, why don't you speak English like the people on TV? I laughed and said, because it's hard. He looked at me, very serious, and said, but you're an adult. Adults can do everything. That hit me. He believed I could do anything, but I didn't believe in myself. I smiled and said nothing. But inside, I felt something break. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept hearing his words. Adults can do everything. But I wasn't doing anything. I was just waiting. Waiting for a better mood. Waiting for the right moment. Waiting for motivation. But motivation never came. And I realized something important. Motivation is not the beginning. It is the result. You don't wait for motivation. You build it. By doing. By showing up. By starting small. I thought about successful people. Did they always feel excited? Did they wait for perfect energy? No. They practiced when they were tired. They studied when they were bored. They kept going even when it was hard. That's what I didn't understand before. The strongest people are not the most talented. They are the most consistent. That night, I didn't plan a big goal. I didn't say I'll learn English in 3 months. I didn't promise to study 5 hours a day. I just made one small decision. Tomorrow, I will do something. Just one small thing. Even if I don't feel like it. Even if I'm tired. Even if I'm not motivated. Just one step. That was the beginning. Not of fluency, not of success, but of something more important. Respect. Self-respect. For the first time in a long time, I kept a promise to myself. And that changed everything. I wasn't waiting anymore. I was doing. And that made me feel alive again. That was the end of my first mistake. Waiting. And the beginning of something new. A better version of me. I remember the day so clearly. It was supposed to be the best day of my life. Instead, it became one of the most painful. For years, I had dreamed about working for a big international company. I wanted to be a software developer, part of a global team, building something important. I studied hard. I spent many nights coding, learning new skills, building small projects. I believed that if I worked hard enough, I would get my chance. And then one day, the chance came. I received an email. It said, "Congratulations, Diago. You have been selected for an interview." The company was based in Canada. I had applied months ago and forgot about it. When I saw the message, my hand started shaking. I read it again and again. It felt like a dream. I ran to my mom and showed her the email. She hugged me tight. I could see the pride in her eyes. I felt like I was finally doing something big, something real. The interview was on Friday at 10 a.m. on Zoom. I had 5 days to prepare. I told myself, this is it. This is my moment. I searched for interview tips online. I wrote answers to common questions. I practiced in front of the mirror. I said, "Hello, my name is Diago. Thank you for this opportunity." But every time I spoke, it felt wrong. My words were slow. My pronunciation was strange. I couldn't speak naturally. I had to think too much. I got nervous. I made mistakes. And the more I practiced, the more I realized I wasn't ready. I tried to stay positive. I told myself, maybe they will be kind. Maybe they will speak slowly. Maybe I'll be lucky. But deep down, I was afraid. Not of the job. Not of the people. I was afraid of my English. Friday came. I woke up early. I ironed my best shirt. I cleaned my room. I placed my laptop carefully on the desk. I opened Zoom early, just to be sure it worked. At 10 a.m., the screen turned on. 3 people appeared. 2 men and 1 woman. All smiling. All speaking very fast. The first man said, "Hi, Diago, thank you for joining us. Can you tell us a little about yourself and your experience?" That's when I froze. I had practiced the answer. I knew what to say. But my mind went blank. My mouth opened, but no words came. I smiled nervously and said, "Yes, my name Diago. I do software. I have many projects. Very good projects. I like work. With team." They looked at me. Their faces were kind, but I could see confusion. The second man asked, "Can you tell us about a challenge you faced in a past project and how you solved it?" I panicked. I knew the answer. I had prepared for this, but I couldn't explain it in English. I tried again. "Yes, one time, problem with code. I fix with solution. I think hard." Then work. Silence. I felt the heat in my face. My hands were wet. My back was tense. The woman smiled gently and said, "That's okay, Diago. Let's try another one. Why do you want to work at our company?" I stared at the screen. I had so much to say. I wanted to talk about growth, learning, opportunity. But all I said was, "Because your company good. I want learn. I work hard. I like Canada." One of the men looked away. The woman stopped smiling. The second man said, "Thank you, Diago. We'll be in touch." That was it. 5 minutes, maybe less. I closed the laptop. I stared at the wall. Then I cried. Not just one tear. I cried like a child. I felt something break inside me. All the hope, all the dreams, all the pride. Gone. I wasn't angry at them. They were kind. They gave me a chance. I was angry at myself for not being ready, for wasting the opportunity, for thinking that watching some YouTube videos was enough. I kept hearing my voice in my head. "I do software. I like Canada." I sounded like a joke. I didn't leave my room. My mom knocked. I said I was fine. I wasn't. That night, I didn't eat. I just sat in the dark. The next day, I got the email. "Thank you for your time, Diago. We have decided to move forward with other candidates." I expected it, but it still hurt. I didn't tell anyone, not my mom, not my friends. I was too ashamed. I started avoiding people. When someone asked about the interview, I smiled and changed the subject. But the worst part wasn't the rejection. It was what happened in my mind. I started believing I wasn't good enough. I thought maybe I should give up. That maybe people like me don't get big jobs. Every time I thought about trying again, I remembered that silence, that failure. I wanted to move on, but I couldn't forget. That moment became a wall in my mind. And for weeks, I did nothing. No English, no studying, no practice. Just fear, just shame, just silence. I thought everything was over. I thought my dream had died. I didn't know then that this was just the second fall, and that the worst was still coming. Because sometimes, life has to break you again before it builds you up. After the interview failure, I thought things couldn't get worse. But life was not finished with me yet. That moment was not rock bottom. It was just the beginning of the fall. I didn't know it, but the real pain was still coming. At first, I just felt tired. Tired of trying, tired of failing. I stopped practicing English. I stopped applying for jobs. I even stopped talking to my friends. I told myself I needed a break. Just 1 week. But that 1 week became 1 month. Then 2. And suddenly I was in a hole I couldn't climb out of. I lived in a small apartment in São Paulo. My room was small but clean. I shared it with 2 roommates. We weren't close, but we respected each other. Rent was cheap, but even that started to feel expensive. I had no income. I had some savings from my old freelance projects, but they were almost gone. I remember opening my bank app and seeing the number. Rady Thraz. That was all I had left. No work, no new projects, no interview calls. My phone bill was unpaid. I had 1 week before the internet would be cut. My rent was due in 6 days, and I had nothing. I didn't even tell my mom. I didn't want her to worry. She already worked so hard, cleaning houses 6 days a week. I couldn't ask her for help. I was a grown man. I was supposed to be the one helping her. I started eating once a day, mostly bread and coffee, sometimes just rice with salt. I couldn't afford vegetables or meat. I told my roommates I wasn't hungry. I didn't want them to know the truth. I felt embarrassed. I felt small. I remember one night I went for a walk just to distract myself. I passed by a small bakery. The smell of fresh bread hit me so hard it almost made me cry. I hadn't eaten all day. I had $2 in my pocket. I walked in and asked the man behind the counter, "Do you have anything for 2 reais?" He gave me a small, dry piece of bread. I thanked him. I stepped outside and sat on the curb, and I ate that bread like it was a feast. That was the first time I realized what it feels like to have nothing. Not just no money, no control, no power, no plan. But the worst part wasn't the hunger. It was the loneliness. During this time, I was also in a relationship. Her name was Elisa. She was kind, smart, full of light. We met at a co-working space 2 years earlier. She believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. She always said, "Diago, you're going to do something big. I know it." But even the strongest love has limits when life keeps breaking you. In the beginning, she tried to help. She told me not to worry, that things would get better. She brought me lunch sometimes. She listened to my fears, but I started pushing her away. I stopped calling her. I didn't want her to see me like this. I didn't want her to see me as a failure. She came to my apartment once, brought me some groceries. I couldn't even look her in the eyes. I felt ashamed. She said, "You don't have to do this alone." And I said something I still regret. "I don't want your help. I don't want your pity." She looked hurt. She said softly, "It's not pity, it's love." But I was too proud, too broken. She gave me one last hug and said, "Call me when you're ready," but I never called. 2 weeks later, I saw her photo on social media with another guy, smiling, happy. And I knew I had lost her, not because she left, but because I pushed her away. I sat on my bed that night and stared at the ceiling. I had no money, no job, no English, no love, just me. And I didn't like the person I was. That was rock bottom. There was no noise in my life anymore, no messages, no plans, no dreams, just silence. And in that silence, one thought kept returning. What if this is my life now? What if this is all I become? Just another person with a dream that never happened. I started having trouble sleeping. My heart would race at night. My chest felt heavy. My thoughts were loud and dark. I told myself I was finished. And one night, something happened that changed me forever. I was lying in bed, staring at the ceiling again. I hadn't eaten that day. My stomach was empty, but my head was full. I looked at the wall in front of me. It was just white paint, but in the shadows, it looked like a screen. And I imagined my life like a movie. What if someone was watching this movie of my life right now? What would they think? Would they feel proud? Inspired? Moved? Or would they turn it off, bored, because the main character gave up too early? And for some reason, that thought broke something inside me. I sat up. I stood in the dark. I walked to the mirror. I looked at myself. Skinny, pale, eyes tired. But I said something out loud. I don't want to end like this. I didn't know what to do next. I didn't have a plan, but I made one decision. I would not let this be the end of my story. Even if I had to start again with nothing, even if I had to fail again and again, I would find a way to rise, not for anyone else, not to prove something, but for myself. Because rock bottom is not the end. It's the place where you choose. Do you stay there? Or do you fight your way out? That night, I chose to fight. And that choice changed everything. I didn't wake up with a big plan. I didn't have a clear goal or a strong feeling. The truth is, I just woke up tired of feeling broken. It was a Tuesday morning. The sun was coming through the window, but my room still felt dark. I sat on the edge of my bed, looking at the floor. My stomach made a small noise. I hadn't eaten dinner the night before. I had no money, no job, and no reason to smile. But that morning, something was different. I stood up and walked to the mirror. My old, cracked mirror full of dust. I wiped it with my shirt. I looked at myself. My hair was messy. My eyes were tired. I looked older than I was. For a long moment, I just stared. Then I said one sentence. "Diago, this is not the end." It was quiet. I almost didn't believe myself, but I said it again. This is not the end. And something small moved inside me. I didn't know what to do. So I did the simplest thing. I made my bed. It sounds silly, I know, but it was the first task I finished in weeks. I pulled the blanket tight. I placed my only pillow in the center. I stepped back. It looked neat. It looked good. I felt a tiny drop of pride. That one act made me ask a new question. What else can I do today? I opened my notebook. It was empty. I wrote one sentence. Just one. I will not give up. Then I wrote another. I will do one small thing today. And that became my rule. Just one small thing. No pressure, no big plan, just action. That day, I took a short walk. 10 minutes. I didn't even go far. I just walked around my block. But I noticed the wind on my face. I noticed the trees. I looked at people. For the first time in weeks, I felt like a part of the world again. When I got back, I drank a full glass of water. I wrote in my notebook. I walked outside. I felt fresh air. That night, I went to sleep feeling different. Still hungry, still broke, still unsure, but also not lost. The next morning I did it again. Made my bed, looked in the mirror, said, "This is not the end." Wrote in my notebook, "I will do one small thing today." And that day, I cleaned my desk. I found my old English book. The cover was dusty, but the pages were clean. I didn't study grammar. I didn't read a full chapter. I just opened it and picked one sentence. I am learning English. I said it out loud 10 times. At first, it felt strange. My tongue was stiff. My voice was weak. But after the 10th time, something changed. It didn't sound perfect, but it sounded real. I wrote that sentence in my notebook. Then I added one more. My name is Diago. I speak a little English. And I said that too. 10 times. That was it. No pressure, no long lesson. Just 2 sentences. That night, I looked at the ceiling again. But this time, I felt peace. Not because my problems were gone, but because I did something. One small thing. The days continued. Every morning, I repeated the same steps. Bed, mirror, sentence, notebook. Some days, I said new English sentences. I am drinking coffee. I am going for a walk. I will not give up. I started describing what I was doing. I am washing my cup. I am cooking rice. I am learning. I am growing. I am trying. I said these things out loud, even when no one was listening. Especially when no one was listening. Because my goal was not to impress anyone. My goal was to rebuild myself. And it was working. Slowly, I started to feel more in control. I didn't get a job right away. I didn't suddenly become fluent in English. But I was moving. I wasn't frozen anymore. I was alive. One day, I found an old podcast I used to like. I played one episode. The speaker said, "Discipline is doing what you can, where you are, with what you have." That hit me deep. I didn't have money. I didn't have a teacher. I didn't have perfect tools, but I had my voice. I had my mirror. I had my notebook, and every day I was using them. Some days were harder. I woke up tired. I didn't feel like doing anything, but I had a rule. One small thing. So even on the hard days, I said one sentence. I am tired, but I am still trying. And that counted. That was enough. Because progress doesn't need to be loud. It just needs to be real. After 3 weeks, I noticed something amazing. I was no longer translating in my head. When I looked at my coffee, I didn't think cafe. I thought coffee. When I looked at my shoes, I thought shoes. English was no longer a school subject. It was becoming my second voice. All from small sentences, from simple repetition, from tiny wins. And that gave me something I hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. Not the kind of hope that says, one day I'll be rich and successful, but the kind that says, I can change. I can learn. I can grow, even if I start small, even if I fail sometimes, even if no one sees me, because I see me, and I'm proud of the man who didn't give up. That was the turning point. Not a big moment, not a loud victory, just a quiet decision to do one small thing and keep doing it every single day. People ask me now, Diago, how did you do it? How did you go from being stuck and silent to speaking English and rebuilding your life? And my answer is always the same. I didn't do anything magical. I didn't have a secret teacher. I didn't move to an English-speaking country. I built one small habit, and then I repeated it. Again and again. I called it the 1-1-1 system. Because it's simple. 1 hour, one topic, one result. Every day. That was my strategy. That's how I changed. Let me explain how it works. The first number is 1 hour. Just 60 minutes a day. Not the whole day. Not 8 hours. Not until you feel tired. Just 1 hour. This helped me stop feeling overwhelmed. I told myself, Diago, you can do anything for 1 hour. It's just 60 minutes. You waste more time than that on your phone. So I made it my rule. No matter how I felt, I would give 1 hour to my future. 1 hour to learning. 1 hour to building myself again. The second number is one topic. I didn't try to learn everything at once. That's what I used to do. I would jump from grammar to vocabulary to pronunciation to slang. And in the end, I remembered nothing. So I changed it. I said, today, one topic only, just one. If I chose to practice how to introduce myself, that's all I did that day. If I picked how to talk about my family, that was my full focus. 1 hour, one topic, no distractions. This helped me go deep. I could practice slowly. I could repeat things. I could understand better. And that made me feel more confident. The last number is one result. This was the most powerful part. Every day I needed one result. Not a perfect result. Not a big achievement. Just one clear thing that showed me I moved forward. For example, I've learned to introduce myself with 5 clear sentences. That's a result. I recorded myself reading 1 paragraph out loud. That's a result. I learned 5 new words and used them in a story. That's a result. The goal was not to be perfect. The goal was to see progress, to end each day saying, I did something real today. I didn't just think about learning. I actually did it. Let me tell you how I use the 1-1-1 system in my real life. Day 1. Topic: self-introduction. I spent the first hour watching short videos on how to introduce yourself. I paused the videos and copied the sentences. I wrote down 5 useful phrases. Then I stood in front of the mirror and practiced saying them out loud. 10 times each. My result? I recorded myself saying those 5 lines. It wasn't perfect, but it was mine. I saved the recording and wrote in my notebook, I can now introduce myself in English. Day 2. Topic: ordering food. I searched for videos where people order at a restaurant. I copied 10 common phrases. I'd like a coffee, please. Can I see the menu? Do you take card? Then I practiced. First reading them slowly, then saying them fast, then using them in my own way. I imagined I was in a cafe. I said, "Hi, can I get a sandwich and a coffee?" My result? I created a short dialogue. I wrote both parts, the waiter and me. I practiced the full conversation and recorded it. Day 3. Topic: talking about your job. I watched a video of someone describing their work. I copied useful words. I repeated full sentences. Then I changed them to match my life. I work in software. I develop mobile apps. I enjoy working in a team. I said them 10 times each. My result? I wrote a short paragraph about my job and read it aloud. Day 4. Topic: giving opinions. I picked 10 opinion phrases. I think, in my opinion, I believe. Then I practiced using them with simple topics. I said, I think coffee is better than tea. In my opinion, learning English is important. My result? I created 5 short opinion statements and recorded myself saying them confidently. Every day I followed the same pattern. 1 hour, 1 topic, 1 result. I didn't rush. I didn't skip days. Even when I felt tired, I gave my hour. Even when I was busy, I gave my hour. Even when I didn't want to, I gave my hour. Because I told myself, Diago, if you can't give 1 hour for your future, then what are you doing with your life? Sometimes I split the hour. 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes at night. Sometimes I did it all in one session, but I never missed a day because consistency is more important than energy. And the best part? I started to feel proud of myself, not because I was perfect, not because I was fluent, but because I was showing up. I was becoming the kind of person who keeps promises, who finishes what he starts, who doesn't quit when it gets boring or hard. After 2 weeks, I noticed a change. I could think in English. I stopped translating in my head. I could answer simple questions without panic. I could describe my day using real sentences. After 1 month, I saw a big change. My pronunciation improved. My voice got stronger. My confidence grew. I could join small conversations online. I even helped another learner with their homework. The 1-1-1 system became my daily workout. Not for my body, but for my mind. It became my routine, my structure, my way to climb out of the dark place. And it's not just for English. I used it for other things too. 1 hour, 1 topic, 1 result. For fitness, I picked 1 workout. For coding, I picked 1 project. For reading, I picked 1 article. Always with 1 result. Always with 1 purpose. So if you are struggling right now, if you feel lost or stuck, remember this. You don't need to change everything at once. You don't need to become fluent in 1 week. You don't need to be perfect. You just need a system. A simple system you can follow even on bad days. That's what 1-1-1 gave me: structure, focus, progress, and most of all, hope. Because when you see yourself growing, even a little bit, you start to believe again. You start to trust yourself again. And that belief is the most powerful tool you will ever have. So find your hour, choose your topic, create your result, and do it again tomorrow. That's how you build a new life. That's how I built mine. There was a moment, weeks after I started the 1-1-1 system, when I looked in the mirror and didn't feel embarrassed anymore. I didn't feel like a loser. I didn't feel like a man who failed. I felt steady, and that was new. Not excited, not powerful, just steady, stable, calm. I had something I hadn't felt in years. I had self-respect. Before, I thought self-respect came from big success, from getting the job, from speaking perfect English, from making money, from having a title or praise. But that wasn't true. I learned that self-respect comes from something smaller, something quieter. It comes from keeping promises to yourself. When I used to say, "I'll wake up early," and I didn't, I lost trust in myself. When I said, "I'll study tonight," and I didn't, I felt like a liar. I didn't trust my own words. I didn't believe myself. And that is a painful feeling. Because if you can't trust yourself, who can you trust? But when I started doing the small things, everything began to change. When I said, "Today I will practice English for 1 hour," and I actually did it, I felt proud. Not because someone clapped, not because I became fluent, just because I kept a promise. And that feeling grew stronger every day. Every time I showed up, I felt stronger. Every time I sat down to practice, even when I didn't feel like it, I felt proud. Even when the progress was slow. Even when the sentences were simple. Even when no one noticed. I noticed. My heart noticed. My mind noticed. And little by little, my self-respect started to grow. There's something powerful that happens when you become the kind of person who does what he says. People around you start to see it. They don't even know why, but they feel it. You walk with more peace. You speak with more care. You look people in the eye. Because deep down, you're not ashamed anymore. And here's what's crazy. Self-respect is not a result. It's a habit. You build it by doing small things right again and again. It's like watering a plant. You don't see it grow in one day. But if you keep watering it, if you keep showing up, one day you wake up and it's taller, it's stronger, and so are you. One of the most important things I realized is that consistency is not about motivation. It's about love. When you truly love yourself, you don't wait until you feel good. You don't wait for perfect energy. You do the right thing even when it's hard. You choose discipline not because it's easy, but because it's honest. I used to think self-love was about relaxing, taking breaks, being kind to myself. And yes, that's part of it. But real self-love is saying, "I care about you too much to let you stay weak." Real self-love is pushing yourself when you want to quit. Real self-love is showing up when no one else claps. And consistency is the way you show that love. When you show up every day, your heart starts to believe in you. Your mind starts to say, "Maybe we can do this." Your body starts to move with purpose, and your spirit begins to rise. I didn't see big results in the first week, but I saw something better. I saw respect. I respected the man who woke up and studied. I respected the man who wrote his thoughts in English. I respected the man who practiced his sentences in front of a mirror. Because that man was trying. That man was building something. That man was not giving up. And that feeling was more powerful than any grammar lesson. More powerful than any job title. Because that feeling said, "I trust myself." And when you trust yourself, everything changes. You stop chasing fast success. You stop needing everyone's approval. You stop comparing your life to others. You stop rushing, and you start growing. One day, I missed my practice. I had a long day. I came home tired. I wanted to lie down and do nothing. But as I closed my eyes, something felt wrong. Not guilt, not fear, just a small whisper that said, "That's not who you are anymore." So I got up. I opened my notebook. I practiced for 20 minutes, just enough to remind myself, "You keep your word." That night, I slept with peace. That's what self-respect does. It helps you sleep well, walk tall, stand strong. And here's the truth. You don't need to be perfect to respect yourself. You just need to be consistent. You just need to show up. Even when it's hard. Even when it's boring. Even when no one sees it. Because you see it, and that's enough. Consistency is not a punishment. It's a gift. It's the way you show yourself that you matter. It's the way you build a life, one brick at a time. It's the way you say, I believe in my future. And once you build that, no one can take it from you. Not failure, not rejection, not fear. Because you've built something solid, a foundation, a habit, a trust. And from that, everything becomes possible. That's what I learned. And that's what I hope you will feel too. Start with one thing. Do it every day. And watch your self-respect grow. It's slow, it's quiet, but it's real. And it changes everything. My transformation didn't happen in one day. It didn't happen in 1 week or even 1 month. It happened slowly, quietly, like a small light turning into sunrise. I didn't feel it at first. But then one day I looked back and saw how far I had come. At the beginning, I was just trying to survive. 1 sentence a day, 1 hour of practice, 1 small promise kept. I wasn't chasing big goals. I just wanted to stop feeling useless. I wanted to feel proud again. I wanted to feel alive. And that was enough to keep me going. After 1 month, my English changed. I could say simple things without thinking too hard. I could order food without fear. I could talk to myself in the mirror and actually understand my own words. I started writing short notes in English. My to-do list, my thoughts, my feelings. I even started dreaming in English sometimes. That was a strange feeling, but also a good one. My body changed too. Not because I joined a gym, but because I stopped living like a ghost. I went for walks every day. I stretched. I drank more water. I started cooking my own meals. Nothing fancy. Just rice, beans, eggs, and vegetables. But I prepared them with care. I started to respect my body the same way I was learning to respect my mind. My energy came back. My eyes looked clearer. I smiled more. I laughed more. I even joked in English sometimes, even if only to myself. Confidence is not about being loud. It's not about being the best. Confidence is when you trust yourself to try. When you know you can show up. When you stop hiding. And I had spent too long hiding. Now I was standing in the light. One day, I opened my old resume. It was full of mistakes. The words were short. The grammar was broken. I smiled. Not because it was bad, but because I knew I could fix it now. I rewrote the whole thing in English. I used better words. I explained my experience clearly. I sent it to a few places. I didn't expect anything. But it felt good to try again. 2 weeks later, I got an email. Hi, Diago. We received your resume. Can we schedule a short interview? I felt that old fear again. But this time, I was ready. I prepared my answers. I practiced with my mirror. I used my 1-1-1 system. I reminded myself, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present. The interview was online. It lasted 15 minutes. I spoke slowly but clearly. I smiled. I asked questions. I didn't panic. I didn't freeze. I didn't feel like a child. I felt like a man. A week later, they offered me the job. It wasn't a dream job. It wasn't big money. But it was real. It was remote work, part-time, helping a small company with website support. They needed someone who could communicate in English, someone reliable, someone consistent. That was me now. I cried when I got the offer. Not because of the job, but because of what it meant. It meant the system worked. It meant I had changed. I started working in the mornings. I continued my practice in the afternoons. I used English every day, in emails, in meetings, in small conversations. I was no longer afraid to speak. I didn't worry about mistakes. I just kept going. After 3 months on the job, my manager said, "Diago, your English is improving fast. You're doing a great job." I smiled and said, "Thank you. I practice every day." She replied, "It shows." That one sentence filled my heart with so much joy. It was proof. Proof that small things become big. That quiet effort becomes loud results. That the man who once sat alone, broke and silent, had become someone people could count on. Someone who believed in himself. I started helping other learners online. I joined a small community. I shared my story. I answered questions. I gave tips, not as a teacher, just as a friend. I didn't forget where I came from. I still used my mirror. I still practiced sentences. I still wrote in my notebook. Because I didn't want to stop growing. Success is not the end of the journey. It's the beginning of a new one. My mom saw the change. She said, "You smile more now, Diago." And I said, "I feel alive again." I even called Elisa. I told her everything. I didn't expect anything. I just wanted to say thank you for believing in me when I didn't. She said she was proud of me. That was enough. Maybe life doesn't always give you back the things you lose, but it gives you new chances, new light, new strength. And I had become strong, not because I never failed, but because I never stopped. That's what transformation looks like. Not a big show, not a perfect photo, just a quiet, steady rise. One step at a time, 1 hour at a time, one sentence at a time. From stuck to strong. And I'm still climbing. If you're listening to my story and thinking, "Diago, that sounds like me," then I want you to hear this. You can change your life too. I was not special. I was not lucky. I was just tired of feeling broken, and I made one small decision. To try. To show up. To stop quitting. You don't need perfect English. You don't need expensive classes. You don't need to move to another country. You need 1 hour, one topic, one result. And you need to repeat it every single day, even on the days when you don't feel like it. Especially on those days. Your future is waiting. Your voice is waiting. Your confidence is waiting. But you have to move. You have to start. Because no one is coming to save you. But you can save yourself. One word at a time. One step at a time. And one day you'll look in the mirror and say, "I did it." This is your turn to rise. Let today be the day you stop waiting and start building the life you know you deserve. I believe in you. Now it's your turn to believe in you too. And if you ever feel lost, come back to this channel, English Starline. Here, you're not just learning English, you're learning how to change your life.
Thanks for watching English Starline. Subscribe now to keep learning English through the amazing stories of famous lives.